Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to jump into our old friend, Unearthed Arcana. You know, the new AD&D book, because it's only 39 years old. And we're going to take a look at a pretty good offensive spell that I actually see a fair amount of at my table. I use this one also when I play an MU. It's Shout. It's an evocation. It's a 4th level spell. Range is 0. Duration's instantaneous. Area of effect is 10 foot by 30 foot cone. Components are verbal and material. Casting time is 1 segment, and saving throw negates. When a shout spell is cast, the magic user empowers himself or herself with tremendous vocal powers. Via the duomer of the spell, the caster releases an ear-splitting noise which has principal effect in a cone-shaped radiating from the mouth of the caster to a 30-foot terminus. Any creature within this area of effect will be deafened for 2 to 12 rounds and take a like amount, 2 to 12 points, of damage, unless the saving throw is made. Any exposed, brittle, or similar substance subject to sonic vibrations will be shattered by a shout. That is, a wall of ice, etc. A spell of this nature can be employed but once per day, for otherwise the caster might permanently deafen himself or herself. The material components for casting the shout spell are a bit of honey, a drop of citric acid, and a small cone made from a bull's or ram's horn. Pretty straightforward spell. It's a 1 segment casting time, which is good at 4th level. That means it's a fast spell and good for combat. You create this ear-splitting noise, which goes from a 10-foot to 30-foot cone, 30 foot out from you, and any creature in the area of effect is deafened for 2 to 12 rounds. By D&D rules, if you are deafened, you are -2 attack, -2 damage while you are deafened, because you're disoriented and you're just not used to it. And take 2 to 12 points of damage. Now, the saving throw negates both effects. So 1 saving throw would save you, if you made it, would save you from being deafened and taking the points of damage. I can kind of see a house rule where you will allow the target to take half damage. Maybe not take the deafness effect at all, but take half damage. But I don't play it that way. I play it as written. Any exposed, brittle, or similar subject to the sonic vibrations will be shattered by a shout. Wall of ice is the example given. I also would allow it to break windows, to shatter, say, bar glasses. I had a player use this in a bar one time. He was angry about something with the bar itself. They had stolen something from him or whatever. So he did a shout and basically blew out all the glassware in the bar, or in the area of effect, and deafened a few patrons and such. It was a little vengeance thing, but he was upset and he was neutral, so he didn't care. I also allow this to do structural damage. Because the damage is 2 to 12, that's 2 dice 6, I will allow this shout spell to do 2 points of structural damage to something, and that's based on stone. So 2 points of structural damage to stone is significant. And if it were to be against, say, the wall of just a wooden home, I would allow it to be probably 4 points of structural damage. I'd let you blow out the wall of a frame house with this, just because I think it's kind of neat, and I think that's kind of what was intended with the spell. I had a player one time have a horn of blasting, and he tried casting a shout into the horn of blasting. And I liked the idea, and I told him, okay, this will be a one time only. I will stack the horn of blasting damage with the shout, but I won't let that work again. It was a cool idea. I didn't want to take it away from him because he was very proud of the idea, and I thought, okay, this deserves it. And I will very often do a one-time ruling to allow something like that to work. But then if I feel it's something that's beyond it, because arguably if he did a shout with the horn right there, the shout would have to make a saving throw or shiver to pieces. In this case, I went ahead and rewarded the clever thinking at least the one time. But like I say, I made it clear that it's a one time only. The advantage of a shout is you are getting higher in level by this point. You have to be 7th level in order to cast the 4th level spell. And it gives you a different type of damage. You've got Fireball and Lightning Bolt, both of which become available at 5th level, and by 7th level are worth 7 dice 6, and an area of effect. So you're saying, well, how come I wouldn't just use one of those? Well, you might, but one of the advantages of the shout is it's a very controlled area. With a Fireball, of course, you have a chance of catching yourself or party members in the blast radius. And with a Lightning Bolt, you have a chance of the Lightning Bolt rebounding off a solid subject like a dungeon wall and coming back and hitting you. This way, with the shout, it's just out there one shout, and it goes to up to 30 feet distance in a 30-foot area. So if you're doing this, say, in a dungeon, and you give a shout, I would definitely, everything in the area of effect in the hallway would have to save, but I'd also give it a chance of blowing open some doors, just because I think that's really in the spirit of the spell as well. So that's my ruling at my table. Or I had one player one time, we were afraid of a door, and the thief wouldn't approach it because they thought it was trapped. So he stepped back 25 feet and did a shout and blew the door off its hinges, and had the advantage of affecting creatures that might be hidden behind the door because it blew the door off the hinges. They were still technically in the area of effect within the 5 feet, that kind of thing. So again, I thought that was a pretty innovative use for a spell that gets overlooked at a lot of tables, I think. I know that my players are veterans and they love the shout spell, but a lot of players I've played with in years past didn't really favor the spell because you had to be 7th level and it was taking up a 4th level spot. So I understand the reasons you wouldn't take this spell, but I do think it's a very worthwhile spell to have in your arsenal, and I recommend it. So there you have it. That's just a quick look at the excellent shout spell out of Unearthed Arcana. Let me know what you think. Have you used shout to good effect? Could it be used just to gather attention to somebody? Have you used it just to, there's a big argument going on, you have your magic user turn away from the argument and bellow this sound where it's not going to hurt anybody, but it's certainly going to break everybody's attention and make them look at what the heck just happened over by the magic user. So that's another use you could have for it. But that's all I got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. I'm still growing the channel. Also take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. I'm still want to, I want to keep the channel going, and I can only do that with the help of folks on Patreon. So existing patrons, I want to say once again, thank you very much. This channel would not be here without you. And anybody that's interested, take a look at the Patreon page. Help me out there if you can. That's it for today on page 121. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.